다음 소식입니다. 중국의 인권 탄압에 대한 우려의 목소리가 상당합니다. 이런 상황 속에서 순교자의 소리는 중국 크리스천을 위한 기도 운동을 진행하는데요. 순교자의 소리의 토드 네틀턴이 중국 교회의 상황과 함께 자세한 이야기 전해드립니다.
Well, we know so many people are going to be seeing the Olympic Games during the coming weeks. They're going to be seeing the figure skating, the ski jumping, probably some great shots of the Great Wall of China. We want every one of those things to be a reminder, hey, I have family members, I have brothers and sisters who live in China. I'm going to pray for them. And so we hope that throughout the Olympic Games that Christians will commit to pray every single day for our brothers and sisters in China.
현재 중국 정부는 크리스천 탄압을 전국적으로 시행 중이며 시간이 지날수록 강도가 높아지고 있습니다.
Well, the regime is persecuting heavily. We know of pastors who are in prison. We know of church buildings that have been destroyed. We know of Christian schools or educational efforts that have been shut down. This is an effort that is being driven at the highest levels of the government. It is now being driven from Beijing out to all the different provinces. We used to talk about, one province would be very severe persecution, one province maybe not so much persecution. This is now a national effort driven by Beijing to all the provinces to control religious expression.
그러나 중국 크리스천들은 담대하게 예수 그리스도의 십자가를 집니다.
Well, the believers in China know that there is a price to be paid for following Christ. I think of Pastor Wang Yi, who is currently serving a 9-year term in prison for leading an unregistered church there. But before he was arrested, he wrote a letter that said, hey, I know it's going to cost me. I love my country. I pray for the leaders here, but my first loyalty is to Jesus Christ. And if the government determines that I have to go to prison for that or pay a price for that, I am willing to pay that price. That's the spirit. That's the attitude of our brothers and sisters in China. Yes, there will be a price to be paid. And yes, we're willing to pay it.
토드 네틀턴은 전 세계 크리스천들이 기도로 중국 교회와 동역할 수 있다고 강조했습니다.
Well, the first thing that persecuted Christians ask us to do for them is to pray. And it's not a prayer, Lord, help them not to be persecuted anymore. What they're asking us to pray is, Lord, help them to be faithful in spite of the suffering, in spite of the persecution. I think of a pastor who talked to one of my coworkers, a pastor from Vietnam, and he said this statement. He said, when you pray for Vietnam, you are working right alongside us in Vietnam. So our hope during these Olympic Games is that we will go to work with our brothers and sisters in China through our prayers.
또한 중국 공산당의 종교 탄압이 홍콩까지 뻗쳐나가고 있다고 전했습니다.
Well, that's one of the interesting things is to see these religious restrictions now start to filter down to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong has always been a city of freedom, a city where religious expression was welcomed and even encouraged. Now we are seeing these restrictions come to Hong Kong as well, not just in the media realm, but also in the religious realm. And, I think as we look ahead, we're going to see more of that. And there are groups that have set up in Hong Kong because they care about China with a passion for China. It will be interesting to see how long many of those people, many of those groups are able to stay in Hong Kong now that it's under such tight control from the communist regime.
끝으로 크리스천들이 예수님 안에서 한 가족이라는 점을 기억한다면 기도의 자리를 지켜낼 수 있으며 기도의 결과는 하나님께 맡겨야 한다고 전했습니다.
I think the important thing is to understand the family relationship that we have. If Pastor Wang Yi is just some pastor in China that's in jail, well, then it's easy to kind of shove that to the back of my mind. But if Pastor Wang Yi is my brother, and he's in jail and he's isolated and he's being fed moldy rice every day, well, that's something that's pretty important to me because that's my family member, that's my brother. And so I think once we understand that family relationship, we don't have to be reminded. We don't have to be sort of goosed to get us to pray. It comes very naturally because they are our family. Who knows what God will do with all of those prayers? Who knows how the church will grow, how the church will be protected? Who knows what members of the Communist Party will be reached with the gospel because we have prayed for the kingdom to advance even among Communist Party members. We can't know and probably won't know until eternity the power that our prayers have, but we trust and we know that God is faithful when we pray.